Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week we have another kind of a definitely different video. I know I haven't been doing tutorials for the past 2 weeks, just bear with me for one more week and I would definitely do a tutorial next week. This week I wanted to do kind of a collection of memories from 2020, considering this is the first video of 2021. So these are all things that I kind of associate with 2020. This is a bullet journal. I started bullet journaling in 2020 and I read a lot of new books as well. This is that. Then the mask I don't need to explain. The palette I did so much artwork, like so much. I haven't done this much artwork in one go before. And this clock, it was the first kind of not paper thing that I painted on, and now it's a mess because I painted it a long time ago. So we're going to be repainting this. And the mouse, I was on the laptops, online school, online Instagram, online just everything. So we're going to paint each of these and customize them. But first we need to gesso it. So and also notice how clean my desk is at this point. At the end of the video is going to be very different. So here we've gessoed everything. Everything is covered up, whitened out. My mouse was looking hilarious at this point. Now that everything's white, we will start painting it with the mouse first, because that was the thing that reminds me most of 2020. I spent so much time online studying or artwork, or just all of it was just so much. Was anyone else online in 2020 way more than they would be usually? Because I was. My mouse was the only thing left unpainted. Like everything I have has been painted already. You already saw my clock. My laptop, I put pictures up on Instagram. I even ended up covering my mom's phone case. That's on Instagram too. And a couple of other phone cases. Like there's nothing in my room that's really white anymore. It's a threat having white stuff near me because it'll just end up being covered up. I had to cut out a bunch of parts because otherwise you guys would have been here for a long time. Like without editing it, the thing was 2 hours long. Once I did edit it and I kind of time-lapsed it, it became 30 minutes long. I didn't want you guys stuck here for that, so I kind of halved it. And now it's 15 minutes long. Be thankful that I didn't make you sit through that. Do tell me in the comments below which one you like the most, because I personally really can't decide. And we're done with my mouse, I think. We're just cleaning up the edges and refining it. With my Posca pens, my aunt got them for me and I love using them. Next we have my palette. This, I went for like a foresty thing. I've done this technique before in my previous video. I'm linking it up there in the corner. It was the forest, acrylic forest. I love doing forests. They're like really calming and pretty. And the palette is probably what I spent the most time on and painted on with the most effort because, well, I painted and did so much art this entire year. I went from like 6 posts on Instagram to 100. So you can imagine how much work I did. And that was only like my better work that I put up there. In the beginning, I was painting at least 3 paintings a day for like the first 2 months. That's 3 times 30, which is like 90. Times 2, which is 180. So we had approximately 180 paintings after the first 2 months of lockdown. Yikes. And of those 180, I probably posted like 20? Maybe more, but I didn't post too much of what I did, so most of my artwork, it's in my sketchbooks. You might see them in sketchbook tours, who knows. I've always found painting on weird, like random stuff more fun than painting on paper because it's something different. And also the feel of not painting on paper. Like paper, you need to worry about how much water you use, if it's going to warp or not, how much excess there is, if the paper can take the weight, if that medium is for the paper or not. But in these kind of things, it's just, you paint on wood, you don't really need to, all you need to worry about is will it stay or not. And acrylic stays perfectly on wood. So that was fun. The clock as well, you don't need to worry. Just need to worry about not getting it in the clock so it still works, which it did. It still works. The mouse as well, you could just use anything. I used acrylics, Poscas, and a bunch of other stuff. No. Yeah, I only use acrylics and Poscas and they stay perfectly. Like, with these things, you don't need to worry too much about the properties of the medium. I don't know if you get that yet. For a lot of people, 2020 was a very difficult year. It was stuck at home. It was just challenging for everyone, but in my case, I wanted to look at the positives of what happened, and these were some of them, I guess. I mean, starting a bullet journal was fun. I read a new series, Hunger Games, I read in 2020, and I absolutely love it. So by now I filled up my background with trees and I'm refining it and stuff. This is very much like my the tutorial that I did, only I just put a bit more effort into it. I added a lot of shading on the trees and even the ground, there's a lot more work done on it. A lot of my favorite artists on YouTube, they paint on random stuff, and since for a while now I've been following them and looking at them and then when wanting to paint on my own stuff, so I decided just to do it all together in one video. It's an interesting start to 2021. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe, because I'm really close to getting 100 subscribers. I'm like at 91, and I'd really love to get to 100 really quickly. It's one of my milestones of 2021 that I want to get to. Hopefully in January? I don't know. Here, we're done with the trunks. Now we start with the leaves, my favorite part. Kind of makes it look foresty. This green at the back, the background green, it's called emerald green. I really love it. White and green make a really lovely combo. I don't know why. There's some pastel colors that really look appealing to me. Like, I personally love pastel colors. Like, just mix white with a color and it looks so pretty. I don't know if there's anybody else who feels that, but I really do. So when I try using pastel colors more in my work, like the diary that I paint eventually, I think after this, is pastel colors more or less, the sky. Because most skies are pastel colors, and I love skies, pretty skies. Recently my friend told me that there's a word for people who love sunsets. I cannot remember what it is. I'll put it down in the description once I find it out. I think it began with the letter O. I can't remember, but there's an actual word for people who like sunsets and skies. I didn't know that. I got the idea of painting on a paint palette from Chloe Rose and Mariah Elizabeth. So if any of you see that and you're about to say you stole their idea, I took inspiration from them. I painted on it. I painted my own design. And I painted it as a memoir of 2020. I didn't really want to copy them. I just really loved the ideas. I tried it out. Please don't say that I'm copying them. I am in a way, but not really. I'm putting my own idea there. And I'm giving them credit, so you can't say anything. I'll put their links in the description below. I love both of them. Their art is so... I actually went for Chloe's color scheme at the back here, and Mariah's idea of painting on the palette, obviously. So now we're starting with the bullet journal. This one, it took a bit of trial and error because the colors orange and blue are opposites, and when they mix, they make brown. But the sky, I've noticed this color gradient is there so often, and it's just in the sky, it blends perfectly. It took a bit of trial and error and a bit of struggle behind the scenes off camera. I had to do a lot of it off camera because it was just too much like messiness. Like, yeah, much struggle later. I adjusted it and fixed it, so it's not a terrible brown color. It's still brownish, but not horrible. Starting with the sea, creating the reflections was a bit interesting, and it took some patience here, and that's something that I find a bit difficult. I had to wait for the background to dry to be able to do the waves, and then for the waves to dry to be able to do the highlights. That's why I love acrylics. They dry super fast, so I don't need to wait really long. Some mediums are just suited to me, like color pencils and crayons. You don't need to wait for those to dry, nor do you need to wait for markers to dry. Markers you need to work really quickly with if you're using alcohol markers, because they only they have to just. I haven't explored acrylic the alcohol markers too well yet. I found them really cool in the tiny things that I have used them for, like creating a few stickers, but I will explore those more. I'm excited to try gouache more actually. I did like 2 pages in the end of my sketchbook, the sketchbook tour. I'm linking it right up there. But I haven't really tried them. I don't know if they dry very fast or not. I just love fast drying mediums because then I can work so much faster and I can get my pictures done quickly. I try not to spend extended periods of time on them, because when I do, then if I get too focused, then I feel like I start messing it up. We had to fast forward or like just cut out lots of parts of this because it was a very lengthy process. And plus you've already seen this, I did a video on this similar to this. So it's kind of just bits and pieces from my previous videos kind of put together. If you want to try these, go ahead please, and I'd love to see you try this stuff. It's just all simple the techniques that are there in my previous videos, just put together in different forms, or maybe like slightly more advanced. If there's any technique in this video that you're curious about or you want to know more about, please tell me in the comments below. I really love hearing from you guys so that then I know exactly what to make, so that I'm not making stuff that nobody wants. I'd prefer to make stuff that you guys would actually want. Your choice. Now moving on to the clock, I had to put a lot of white gesso on this because I had already painted it before. The first time that I painted it, it was the first thing I'd ever painted, so I didn't really get how to do things, which is why it was really messy. Like, I had forgotten to cover the face of the clock with a paper, so there was paint all over that, which is kind of dumb. I should have covered that, common sense, but I didn't. And I tried to give the thing an outline, and it was terrible, so now we're fixing it. This time I decided to go for a galaxy kind of effect. I'm not sure why, but I did, and it looked really nice in the end, so I'm happy I did. But I'm just not sure where that inspiration came from. I think maybe the fact that I had done a forest, a sunset, like a sea, and like the scenery that I like, I just had to do a galaxy as well. Now the mask, it's my least favorite thing to paint because this material is terrible for painting. But I had to include one. I mean, how can a mask be left out of 2020? I mean, yeah. I tried painting one before. I did a rainbow style too because you can't do so much detail on this. And it's this material. I'm not even sure what the material is. It's just definitely not made for paints. And I'm not wasting any of my precious acrylics on this. I just used poster paint. It will fade away eventually, but I don't really care. If any of you have tried painting on masks, tell me how it went, because mine really didn't go well. We had to work a lot on this off camera because it's just so messy. My hands were a complete mess. The desk was a complete mess because the paint kind of went through it. So, yeah. Here, I did a lot of work on it off camera because it just wasn't no. But rather than focusing on the mask, look at my amazingly white table. It was white before, now it's just a mess. It's gonna take a lot of cleaning, but anyway, back to the mask. This is what it looks like. And here is everything together. The mouse, the clock, the diary, the mask, and the palette. Please tell me which one you guys liked most down in the comments below. And yeah, Happy New Year! Let's hope this year's way better than what last year was.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Bye!